welcome back to Tiny Bookness channel with me Hesti. And today it is time for my March reading journal setup. So for this month, I'm trying to set up my reading journal in scrapbooking style, something that I never tried before. And after I saw the result, I intend to do the same in the following months. And since March is also my birthday month, I thought it will be perfect if I create my favorite aesthetic for my journal. So my theme for this month is cozy and vintage vibes with an earth tone color scheme. Although I really enjoy the process of making them and also the result looks so pretty, at least for me, the drawback of doing the scrapbooking is it took longer to set up the spreads because there are lots of arranging, cutting, gluing, and all those itsy bitsy stuff. So that's why you might notice that this video is quite longer than my usual one. However, I hope that you will enjoy watching this because I really have a great time making them. So you can grab some snacks and your favorite beverage. For me, obviously, it is a coffee. I was drinking one while making these spreads, as you can see in the video. The first page that I set up here is for my monthly TBR and book haul. I have a general idea of what each page going to look like. That's why I have collected some scrap paper, stickers, washi tapes, and journaling supplies that I think will look good together. But since I don't have a detailed plan for the final look, I just find out along the way and try which composition I actually like. The things that I change for this particular spread is that I used to write down all the reading challenges that I participated in that month. But starting from March, I will take them out from this page. The reason is that I don't think it is that useful for me to have them in my reading journal. I always use the Notion to plan my TBR for those challenges, so I think it is better if I use the space for either decorating or give more room to write down maybe my TBR and book haul. And by the way, beside this reading journal, I also use the Notion to track my reading. So if you guys are interested in a Notion tour, let me know in the comment below. I mostly use my alphabet stamp for the title in the setup because it's just perfect to create the vintage vibes. And also here I have a smaller space for my book haul because I think I will not have as many book haul as the previous month. The reason is hopefully in May I will be able to return to India, so I plan not to buy any new books for at least the next 2 months. And the second is because my current physical TBR is still too huge and I don't think I will be able to read over 200 books before May. So yeah, I don't plan to add more books at least for now. As for my March TBR, I think I have 14 or 15 books in total. Those either the books that I want to read or I must read for the review purpose. But these 7 are my top ones. We have Jet City by Fonda Lee, Iron Widow by Siran Jezo, One for All by Lily Lenov, A Magic Step in Poison by Judy Lin, The Girls Who Fell Beneath the Sea by XCO, Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood, and lastly, The Final Empire by the one and only Brandon Sanderson. A Magic Step in Poison and The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea are my anticipated release for this year. I also get the advanced reader copy for the A Magic Step in Poison, which will be released on March 29. So you can expect my review of that book by the end of this month. I will post them both on my Instagram and Goodreads. You can check all of my social media links in the description below. Moving on to the next page, it is for my monthly wrap up where I put my reading stat. I think out of all the spreads that I create, this is the one with these significant changes. Previously, I always have the same layout for this page and just use different colors for each month. But after using the same layout for over a year, sometimes I feel bored and didn't know how to decorate and make it look different. But with this new style, I could play around with this page, like how I used to have the favorite book section on the top right corner, but now I move it to the left side. As for the component, this page will still have the same reading stat that I need, such as ratings, genres, the format when I read them, and information about the amount of advanced reader copy, new release, backlist, and books from my TBR that I read for that month. As you see here, I'm trying to figuring out what I want the college looks like for the title, and this is the part that took most of my time, but it was a great time. I listened to From Blood and Ashes by Jennifer L. Armentrout while setting up this journal, and I think it took me almost 3 hours to complete all of the pages, so I read quite a big chunk of that book. The next page is for one of the readathon that I participated in this month. It's called Orilium Magical Readathons. March is just blessed with lots of interesting reading challenges and readathons. So beside this one and my own reading challenges called Arcross Cozy that I'm hosting on Instagram, I also participated in Encanto reading challenge. I will leave all of the information down below in the description in case you are interested and would like to join. Talking about this readathon, it is hosted by G from the booktube channel Book Rose. Her readathon is my favorite readathon because it is so cool and epic. I always participate in her magical readathon since it first launched. Back then, it was a readathon based on Harry Potter OWL, but since last year, I think, she changed it into a completely new world which she created by herself. Awesome, right? It is a series of readathons, so in 1 year we usually have 2 main readathons and a couple of mini ones, and for March is the mini one. A brief explanation about Orilium Magical Readathon. This readathon has a storyline where we are a student on the journey to enter a magical academy, Orilium. We also need to create our characters' information like their ability, race, weapon by reading a book based on the prompts. It is the type of readathon that will satisfy all of the fantasy fans out there, so please check her original video announcement below and let me know if you also participate in this readathon. Maybe we have the same book in our TBR, so we could do buddy read. As for this page, I use the craft paper on the both side and I print out the prompts and the books that I plan to read for each prompt. This printout is actually from Instagram template that I created for this readathon. So if you want to use it, maybe for a journal or maybe for your Instagram, you can check my Instagram. And while we are on this page, I will share my TBR for this readathon. There are 5 prompts. The first one is book set in the city or town, and for this I will read Wicked Fox by Kat Jo. This book is set in Seoul, Korea, about the story of Gumiho, a Korean mythical creature, which also known as the Nine-tailed Fox. Next is to read a book from an ongoing series, and I will be reading A Magic Step in Poison by Judy Lin. It is the first book from a duology and just about to release at the end of the month, so it is the perfect choice for this prompt. The third prompt is a book with crows on the cover or a red book. The first time I heard this prompt, 6 of crows immediately pop up in my head, but I cannot use it because I haven't read The Rune Rising yet, so instead I choose to read Iron Widow by Xian Genzo because it has a red cover. And to be honest, I don't know much about this book. I only heard that many people praise it, and it is also known as the story with the real air quote love triangles and also feature polyamorous relationship. The next prompt is crystal words in the title or series, and I will be reading Jet City by Fonda Lee. At first, I cannot think of any book that I own that will be suitable for this prompt, but after taking some bookish picture, I realized that jade is actually a gemstone. So I think even though it's not precisely a crystal, I still able to use this book for this prompt. And lastly, read a book in 4 or less sitting, and for this one I plan to read The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by XCO because it is quite small, so I think I can finish it in less than 4 sitting. And that's all of my TBR for this magical readathon, and technically I must read all of them to be successful in this readathon, but we will see later on. And to complete this page, I use my alphabet stamp to write the title and add washi tapes and stickers in here and there, so the page looks even prettier. The next page is for my reading tracker. I still do it the way I used to do, where in this double spread I have one calendar and a space where I can list down books that I will be reading that month. The only change is that I make the calendar a little bit smaller. It is almost like I only use one page for the calendar, while usually it took at least 1.5 page for it. I make it smaller because I want to leave more room for the collage and decoration, and also I want to try to minimize starting a new book and not finishing them because maybe I got distracted or interested in another title. And I hope with the smaller space in this calendar, it could help me to stick with the book that I'm currently reading and try to finish them before I start the new one. This spread is inspired by Pujo spread created by Cold Pujo from Tumblr. I saw her spread while checking the Pinterest to find some inspiration, and I just thought that her spread will look good for my reading tracker. And as the supplies that I use in this spread are mostly from Miss Fiore, I found this craft store in our local marketplace. So if you are from Indonesia, I will leave her shop link down below in the description. The last page is for my March read. This page was also inspired by a bullet journalist. Her name is Gia. I found her spread also from Pinterest. She is such a talented person and her spread really pretty. You should check her out if you are looking for some journal spread inspiration. This kind of setup is a little bit worried me in the beginning because I'm scared that I won't have enough room to write down my short thought about the books that I have read. As I explained in the previous video, that even though I don't write my full review in my reading journal, I always write down 1 or 2 sentences of my thought or impression about the books. But after I finish my first read in March, and I can see that I can fit around 6 to 8 books in this spread, but we will see if later on maybe I'm super productive and read more than that. I can simply add the new spread for them. To decorate this page, I mostly use pictures that I found on the internet and add some flower stickers to make this page more like a spring core kind of vibe. And actually, I have a funny story about this page. I didn't realize at all that I stamped the wrong month for the title of this page. So instead of March, I made it January. I don't know what I've been thinking at the time, but even after I flip it back and forth, mesmerized about how much I love it, I still didn't notice that mistake until when I'm about to record the final flip through. And here's the final flip through of my March reading journal. As I told you at the beginning of this video, I really love how it turns out. I am so proud of myself after creating this spread because I feel these are the best spreads that I have created so far. It is so satisfying to look at and make me excited to fill in my reading journal, which means I need to read more books if I want to open it more, right? That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoy it. See you soon, friends.